Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm talking about a 3D print file that I found from actually a guy I featured on this channel a lot. I'll talk about in a second, but it fixes an issue that I haven't seen another version of this actually out there. So I thought I'd go through it with you guys today. But that issue that I have is in regards to this. And this, if you're not aware, is a PTT or a push to talk. And what this does is basically it's going to attach to your kit, whether that is your plate carrier, whether that is your chest rig, whether that's just like your t-shirt, jumper, whatever it is. And this is going to allow you to have that connection and that button to engage your radio. So if you're using your radio, you've got your headset on, whatever headset that is, a lot of the time people will have this connection in here and they'll basically just push this, be able to talk, and then when they release it, you know, they're not talking anymore and someone else can push the button and talk, etc. It's basically like the button on the side of a radio, however, it is attached to your person. Now, I'll show you kind of how this works just because some of you may not be aware. I use my Contact 5s. I love this headset, but this basically has this line that comes out of it, and this means that I can take my helmet off when I'm in the safe zone. I can do whatever I need, and this will be attached to me, so I can just insert this, plug it in, my radio is connected, and I'm good to go. Now, the main issue that comes up with this thing is pushing the button when you're not intending to push it, or hot miking. And so when I'm playing with my team, sometimes, and more often than you'd expect, you'll hear this, someone say, someone's hot miking. And the reason they're saying it out loud as opposed to saying it on the radio is because when you have got this button depressed, no one else can talk. Literally, you are just broadcasting and it blocks the entire comm system for everyone else. And the problem with these PTTs is they come like this. And as you can see, this button is sticking out. And so what often happens is when you're playing in a team environment, one of your friends or someone is going to accidentally depress that, whether that's pushing it against one of their pouches, pushing it against their replica, putting kit on and off, etc. And when you're playing in-game, it can really be like a tactical killer because suddenly your team cannot communicate. And unless you've got someone near you who has the comms on, who's saying who's hot miking, you don't know who it's going to be. You can't turn around and say, hey, can you turn off your radio, because they're broadcasting. So no one can communicate with each other. And so it's a really big issue that has come, that is just a downside or a pitfall. It's not like big on a mobile phone where you've got like two-way communication. This is one-way communication at a time. And so by having that button pressed in and someone not realizing it, it can be a real issue. So when I've played in my team, and I wasn't aware of this before I started playing with Team Reaper Actual, there's a guy called Augie who is one of the leaders of the team, runs all of the comms and communication. He said to me, look, like, you ideally need to have a cover on this because you've hot mic'd. I've done it multiple times. I've been with players who've done it multiple times. But this button, you need to protect it so that you're not able to push it accidentally. Now, how I run my usual setup is like this. And if you're looking here, I'll give you my desk view if possible. No, I can't. Yes, I can. This is how I run mine. And you can probably see here, that is what is covering this button. The button's in there. This is the PTT unit. I actually have this wrapped on here with fabric tape so that it can't move. I know always where it is. Doesn't get caught up with kind of like things on my gear. And if I am playing, then I have it, I'm right-handed. So I have it on my left shoulder, and I know that if I'm like manipulating my primary or my secondary, whatever it is, I'm using my right hand. So I have that left hand basically to activate it. But the only fix that we found before now is taking a bottle cap and basically drilling a hole through that bottle cap to have the button there, which means unless I'm physically sticking my finger in or you get very unlucky and something's going in, you can't depress that. However, I need to get this tape to wrap around it. It doesn't look great. Like I found a blue bottle cap, which doesn't really go with my camo. But that has worked so far for what I've been doing. Now, I was on Basterd Labs, who made this. Basterd Labs actual Cults 3D page. I'll put a link down below to that and to this actual item so you guys can go and have a look at this if you want to. But I saw this and it said it's a PTT cover. And I was looking at it, I'm like, oh wait, I know exactly what that is. It basically works in the same way that that bottle cap works, where you have this hole here, which is recessed, and this one actually has little angles on it, and it has a space big enough for that button basically just to stick out through there. So I can depress that and have it protected in a way that is much more professional than having a bottle cap sticking on there. It allows me to keep that space of it. The bottle cap's not having to be secured on other ways. And it looks like, and I'm going to show you in this because I'm going to try and do an install video. I haven't actually tried putting this on yet, so I'm hoping it's going to fit and will be fine. But basically just removing those screws and using 2 of the screws to push through into those holes. Now, I think this should work, and if not, I may have to get my Dremel out and do some kind of like Dremel work to squeeze it in. But what I'm going to do is install this on here, and I'm really excited because I did actually look around for a long time online when I first did that, and maybe someone does one now. This was a couple of years ago, and I was like, how has someone not created something that is going to do it? But this, if you're wanting to buy it, it's actually got his logo on the front here. But if you're wanting to buy this, it is, I believe, €2.25. So you're looking at like $3 or $4 for this. Obviously, you get the print file. Depending on what material you're using, you could print this in maybe something a bit more rubbery. If you wanted that, you could print it in different colors. You know, I may do one in tan just so that it kind of keeps in with my multicam a bit more, or maybe a green. But I'm pretty excited to find this. So we're going to try and install it now and kind of see what that looks like in comparison. So I'm going to need my flathead screwdriver. We'll do the little side view here so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. And then I think I'm just going to need to remove these outer screws is all I'm going to need. And then that looks like it should just screw back in, but I don't know what the length of these screws are. So my concern is that I'm going to need longer screws. I have longer screws, so that shouldn't be an issue. But I'm hoping that this should be pretty easy, where I just have to remove these screws out of here. That one's coming free. That one's coming free. Okay, so they're pretty long screws, it looks like. So hopefully that's not going to be an issue. I'm going to push this onto here. And as I say that, it's a snug fit, but actually in a perfect way, it seems like. Like that's just going to screw right on. You can see here I can like push this into this gap. And so that's just coming down straight on there. And then I'm going to be basically taking these and putting them... Sorry, my doorbell's ringing, so I'm going to just quickly answer that. 1 second. I'm going to pause this for a second and I'll be back. Okay, so that was a couple of shady looking characters at the door who seemed to like ring the doorbell and then walk away. So I've got... Did I just lose one of these screws? No, I didn't. So I'm going to put this back in, and this could be, if this just works like this, the quickest actual like little install that I've done. Now this little washer here, maybe I need to take that out, or maybe I need to keep it in. But I'm going to print a few of these because I definitely will replace that one on my actual plate carrier if it works, which it looks like it's going to. Like you can see there, like that is just now in that position. It works better, I think, than the other one. It is going to add maybe a slight amount of bulk just to the top of this PTT. But I think from what it says in the description, it works for a U94. Yeah, U94 is kind of what the description is on this. So that's going to be the design of PTT that this works with. So that's just going to fasten in place. I'm going to push that and make sure that's fully in. Same with this guy. That's in there. Okay, so that is in there now, guys, and that space there in the button is ideal. So I can now just push that as I need to. If I've got this is the wrong side for me, but I literally can just depress that button in, and I think that's going to be perfect. So that's probably, well, let's just do a quick comparison to my other one. So I can show you guys the difference here between the two. This has got plates in it, so it's definitely pretty like awkward to get around. That is basically now going to be the difference. So you can see it's significantly smaller, more compact. It's got these angles. I'm not like catching that on there. This is obviously a cheap bottle cap. It's black. So what I'm going to be doing is basically installing this. I'm going to switch this around because normally what I do is switch it. And then I'm going to be installing that onto there, right there. So guys, that is going to be the video for... That's going to be the video for today. I hope you're great wherever you are. As I said, I'll put a link down to that below. And again, I just feel like I'm just becoming a Basterd Labs fanboy because you just put something out and then I do a video on it. It just kind of continues. So apologies if I'm just doing that. If there are other 3D print designers out there that you're like, hey, you should check this out, print this, do a review, I will definitely do that. So put it in the comments and I'll get on that. All right, guys, see you soon. Bye-bye.